Hello, and I'm Kiro. Um, I want to talk in this video about some crazy laws here in California and in other parts of the nation. Um, Primarily how the actions of the victim oftentimes do not matter in the defense of somebody who is accused of a crime. And what I mean by this is, in sex crimes, oftentimes the actions of the victim are not brought to bear, and they just don't matter. And I want to clarify that, so stop freaking out. Case in point, I know a guy in county jail. He is facing a charge of lewd lascivious acts upon a 16-year-old girl. Now, for those of you who haven't watched my previous videos, a lewd lascivious act is the act of touching. A simple touch. Just a touch. Reach over and touch the nearest person next to you with your finger. And you have committed a lewd lascivious act upon that person. A simple boom. And yeah. Now, in California, there's supposed to be a sexual desire to that. But that's never the case. Even if there is no desire, they have 15 other laws that they can charge you with that are what's called a lesser included offense. It's the difference between slapping somebody and punching somebody. Either way, you still hit them, but so, and you're still going to prison for it, or jail, whatever. So I want to talk about how the victim's actions are not brought into effect. In this guy's case, his victim took and wrote him a letter that said that if he did not buy her a car, she was going to frame him for rape. And and I mean, he refused. And she framed him. She accused him of rape. Now, in the courts of California, it doesn't matter. I know that's sad and that's crazy, but it doesn't matter. Her actions don't matter. Doesn't matter what she says. Doesn't matter what she does. It just doesn't matter. Now this guy's looking at 10 years, 8 to 16 years in state prison for refusing to buy this girl a car. It just doesn't matter. And it's the same story, I want to clarify, not all victims do this, there's some real monsters out there that really hurt people. And I want to also be clear that if you are one of these monsters that really likes to hurt children, repeatedly, you should be set on fire. That's my opinion. And I'm entitled to that, because this is America. There ain't much of the Constitution that matters, but hey. So, the victim's actions in California and in other states should matter. I know another guy who is being accused of pistol whipping his victim. But in his case, because his girlfriend was in the car like 100 yards away from him, having a type of sex with another man, his case is classified as a sex offense. and it's crazy. It really is. And his victim pulling a knife on him doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter. The evidence in his case that says I was not a part of any such act matters. It does matter. And they are trying, his lawyer's trying, he's really fighting for him, which is rare, to get him a lesser reduced sentence, or to have that charge dismissed. But the last I spoke to him, the plea deal that the DA offered him was 12 years, and if he accepts 12 years for his first offense, never been in trouble before a day in his life, if he accepts 12 years for pistol whipping this guy, which is assault with a deadly weapon, but they call it something else, he only hit him twice. He didn't break any bones, nothing. He broke the skin, and that was it. If he accepts 12 years, then he'll not have to register for the rest of his life. And he almost took it until I talked to him and told him, don't do that. That's, just don't do that. So victims' actions do not matter, and they should. In all types of crime, evidence should matter. I know a guy right now, an ex-teacher. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Humboldt County in California. Excuse me. He's an ex-teacher, and he's accused of sexually abusing his stepdaughter. Well, this girl admitted that she was in love with him. That she wants him to leave her mother, and so that they can get married. She admitted that he's never touched her. That she lied because she was mad at him for having sex with her mother and not her. In his jury selection, he has lost, I would say, at least 70 jurors from being dismissed from his case. They weren't allowed, I want to explain what that is. They weren't allowed to be jurors. And the reason why they were dismissed was because they weren't willing to convict somebody without evidence. That sounds pretty straightforward to me, right? You want to see evidence that somebody did a crime. Well, hey, in California, that's not the case. And in this guy's case, all the evidence says he didn't do it. He's had 2 hung juries right now. He's on his way for his 3rd. But under California law, they can detain or they can keep him in jail for up to 45 years and keep trying him over and over and over and over until a jury convicts him. Now, how is that justice? How is that even constitutional? He's on 24 people that were so far. Out of those 24, it was like 8 that said no. So it was, he had a wide majority that said not guilty. And this guy's still in jail. And he's looking at his prospects and thinking, I could be out in 15 years, and at least I'll be free. And that's his mindset right now. And it's because of the hell that he has gone through to go to trial. They have threatened his family. They have threatened his friends. They've ruined his career. They've ruined his name. The newspaper up here called him everything under the sun. Had him guilty before he ever even went to trial. The newspaper up here just smeared this guy in so many ways. It's unreal. Wow. And for those of you out there that are like, well, then don't be like that. Well, the guy's not. You know, I mean, had the actions of his victim been taken into account, he wouldn't be in jail, because she admitted that she fell in love with him. She admitted that she wants him to have sex with her, and he has refused multiple times. You know, he moved out of his own home to be away from her, okay, so that he couldn't be accused. And you know, he loves his stepdaughter, you know, and he cares about her, and he just, you know, he wants what's best for her. So, you know, when she was like, well, you know, hey, I won't do it again, I'm sorry, whatnot, he bought it. You know, he fell right into that trap, and boom, and that was that. And now he's looking at, you know, he is looking at 467 years to life in prison for a crime that he didn't do. How do I know he didn't do it? There's no DNA evidence. There's no saliva. There's nothing. It's her word versus his. And in California, his word doesn't mean anything. Because once you're accused of a sex crime, or for any crime for that matter, you are guilty. The old adage of innocent until proven guilty is a joke. And when they tell you that, understand that they are laughing at you in your face. They're not playing. They're not joking. It is guilty until proven guiltier. You know, look, I mean, I cannot explain to you how, in my own case, law enforcement planting evidence, you know, the evidence that was in my case that showed that I was innocent didn't matter. It didn't. The judge knew that the crime scene had been corrupted, and oh well, you know what I mean? He even allowed me to call my bank to stop my credit card, because my credit cards, were stolen from the crime scene and used all over the county that I was living in. Now, no one cares about that. You know, in my own case, the DNA testing that was done showed no DNA. Showed that I was innocent. Showed that the victim's statement was a complete fabrication. And no one cared. Just, oh well. And my lawyer, Douglas Prouty, of Plumas County, California, because that was the county I was in, refused to do any type of investigation. And now, because of him, and we're back on punishment again, I'm not allowed around my family. I can't go home. I am forced to be in a place where I don't know anybody. And I hate. So, again, the victim's actions, you know, are never taken into account. And they need to be. Now, I know none of you are going to call your representative. I know none of you are going to actually try to stop or change a law. So the best I can ask you, and the best I can say to you is please, from one citizen to another, know your rights. And more importantly, know how to enforce them. If you don't know what an injunction is, and how to file one, learn. I mean, you're taking a pretty good step watching my videos. If you don't know that the First Amendment has way more than just the freedom of speech, you're going to prison. And I want to be clear that it's not just you. It's your mama. It's your daddy, it's your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your pastor, your friend, your homeboy, your whatever. Evidence in the criminal justice system nowadays does not matter. And if you go to trial, depending on the charge that you're faced with, it's all bad. If you get an expert, they'll get an expert to counteract that expert. And the expert's paid to say whatever it is that your lawyer wants him to say. Okay? DNA evidence, 90% of jurors don't understand DNA evidence. How many of you out there know what acid phosphate is? And how it relates to a sex crime? How many of you out there of you know that muriatic acid at a murder scene is signs of someone cleaning up blood? And that's my point. Evidence doesn't matter, and jurors aren't educated in a lot of the law. So if you don't know your rights, if you don't know how to enforce your rights, you're you're going to prison. And if it's not you, it's going to be somebody you love. So for you, for them, learn to enforce your rights. Take a paralegal course. Learn pre-law. Do something. Our entire nation is founded on laws that allegedly matter. They don't. But how can you play the game if you don't know the rules? If you don't know the rules that are used to convict you of assault and battery, or reckless driving, or a sex crime, how can you ever defend yourself? Because understand, your lawyer does not give a crap about you. He cares about the money he's making. If you can make him care, then he might fight for you. But are you going to put your life, your whole life, in my hands? Or is it better in your own? Who knows your case better than you? You think your lawyer's going to put his life on the line for you? You think if the judge doesn't tell him, I will make every case that comes before me the maximum sentence. If your fucking client, if your client does not take 45 to life, you think he's not going to push you to take 45 to life? If you can't read a simple case law and understand how to quote it, you are going to prison. Period. And in some prisons, the stories are true. You better buy a lot of Vaseline because you're going to be servicing a lot of people. Please, know your rights. And remember, if nothing else, you are the resistance. You are the resistance to the subversion to the Constitution. You are the resistance to the subversion of the constitutional rights and the criminal justice system. You are the resistance to the subversion of corruption. If you don't use that power, you're going to prison. And you're going to go to prison most likely for life. Because here in California, they hand out life sentences like it's candy at a child's birthday party. Period. So, good luck. And please, learn your rights. And learn how to enforce them. So as always, I'm Kiro Dresden. And this has been my take on how victims' actions don't matter. And how they should. How I wish some of you would call your representative. And make evidence matter again. It needs to. So if you like this video or any of my other videos, like and subscribe. I've been away for a while. I just got out of jail, so when I can, I'll put up more videos. Um, a lot of my videos are gonna be explaining things. So, hey, I'm not as passionate about it as I once was because the law doesn't really matter. It matters, but most people really don't care about it. So, but to protect your family, your friends, people you care about, to protect yourself, learn to enforce your rights. If you've never heard of your state constitution, you got a problem. If you don't know anything on your state constitution, you got a problem. So watch my video on habeas corpuses, and you'll learn some more. All right, thanks. Have a good one.